My beloved child, can you feel it? Something deep within you has been stirring, something ancient and true. You are not imagining it, you are not alone. I am speaking directly to your heart, to your wariness, to your questions. The veil is thinning, and the truth is breaking through. You have been prepared for such a time as this, solaced in carefully every word, as is part of the answer you've been praying for. Do not scroll away, do not silence this voice. This is the moment that could shift everything. Are you ready to hear what you were always meant to know? Then stay with me till the end, because your journey begins now. Your mind is a battlefield, constantly racing with thoughts that grip you from the moment you wake until you fall asleep. You try to silence them with productivity or fake smiles, but they always resurface. You're carrying a burden you were never meant to hold, a mental storm that steals your peace and interrupts your sleep. I formed your thoughts before you could even speak, and now I urge you to bring them to me. Don't hide them, don't justify them, and don't wrestle with them alone. Every anxious thought is seen, and I am not angry about them. I am moved with compassion to quiet them. You are not broken for feeling overwhelmed. You are human, and you are hurting, but you are also mine, and that changes everything. I am not distant from your anxiety. I am right in the middle of it with you. My voice is louder than the lies your anxiety repeats. You don't have to be ashamed of what your mind has been echoing. What you need is my assurance that I am not leaving, shifting, or disappointed. I have the divine authority to speak peace into your thoughts right now. Not tomorrow or after things settle down, but in this moment. So pause everything. Let my voice override the noise, and let my presence be the calm that anchors you. Stop running in mental circles. I am right here with the power to still your inner storm in a moment. If you would only let me take over. This is not a request. It is a divine intervention for your soul. You are exhausting yourself with planning, predicting, and worrying about every possible outcome. It is time to stop trying to be your own guide. You are not made to bear the pressure of figuring out every next step. I have already gone ahead of you. I hold the key to every door that needs to be opened, and the power to tear down every wall. You are searching for signs and solutions. Yet I have already prepared a path paved with provision. You don't need a perfect plan. You need perfect trust. I am not standing in front of you, waiting for you to impress me with how well you manage the unknown. I am beside you, whispering, "Follow me into your deepest hesitation." This is urgent, because every time you hesitate, delay, or overthink, you shrink back from the very path I have ordained to bless you. It is not your job to design the journey. It is your job to walk with me step by step. You may not see what's around the corner, but I already know who you will become there. I am not asking for your understanding. I am asking for your obedience, rooted in trust. Every detour, delay, and disappointment has already been woven into the story I am writing for you, not to defeat you, but to deliver you. I am leading you out of confusion and into divine clarity, but you must stop relying on your own perspective. Take my hand, stop calculating, stop second-guessing, and begin walking in what I have already made ready. It's not too late, and it's not too dark. I am the light on the path, and I never lead my children into harm, only into holiness. Right now, your mind is practicing destruction as if it were preparation. You keep rehearsing every possible way things could go wrong, and it is robbing you of the joy I am trying to deliver. You imagine being rejected, running out of time, money, or love. You play out scenes in your head that have not happened, but you have already lived them emotionally 1,000 times. You are rehearsing the voice of fear, but you have forgotten how to repeat my words. What if you began speaking my promises over your fears like a weapon? What if you interrupted every "what if" with "God said"? This is not a gentle reminder. It is an urgent call to change the narrative in your head. Your fear is not harmless. It is planting roots, creating beliefs and influencing decisions that I never authored. You are not being cautious. You are being held captive by imagined pain. I have given you my promises not to decorate your Bible, but to defend your mind. Every time you rehearse fear, you are fueling doubt and silencing your faith. It is time to flip the script. Instead of repeating what you dread, declare what I have spoken. I will never leave you. I will fight for you. I will supply all your needs. I am for you and not against you. My plans are good. I am not asking you to fake bravery. I am commanding you to anchor yourself in truth. Rehearse what I have said until your fear has no room to speak. This moment is holy, not because it is easy, but because you are choosing to shift your mind from panic to promise. And I am standing with you in that shift. You have tried to make it through the night with a restless heart and a mind spinning in silence. You have looked at the ceiling in the dark and begged for morning, but it felt like the darkness stretched on forever. The world slept around you, but you could not find peace, not even for a moment. Your breath was shallow, your chest heavy, and your thoughts were unrelenting. And I was there through it all. You did not hear my footsteps, but I walked the floor beside your bed. You did not see my hand, but I was a presence resting against your chest, trying to slow the panic in your ribs. Every tear that soaked your pillow, I was collecting as a sacred offering. You thought you were alone because your room was silent, but I was speaking comfort over your soul the entire night. I am the one who kept you from falling into despair and guarded you from invisible torment that wanted to pull you deeper into fear. This is urgent because I need you to stop agreeing with the lie that no one sees how bad it gets when you are alone. I saw it all. I felt it with you, and I intervened more times than you realized. You don't have to pretend it didn't happen or bury the memory of that anxious night under layers of pretending to be okay. I am not asking you to forget it. I am asking you to let me redeem it. There was pain in the silence, but I was planting peace in the darkness. There was heaviness in your breathing, but I was filling your lungs with the strength to keep going. You thought the night swallowed your hope, but I preserved it inside you, even when you only slept for a few minutes. Don't brush off that night like just another bad moment. I want to show you what I was doing while the world turned and you lay awake. I was battling for you, interceding for you, and blocking spiritual attacks that never reached your soul. I was reminding heaven that you still belong to me, even if you doubted it in your exhaustion. And I am still here. I have not stepped away now that the sun is up. I don't vanish when daylight returns, or wait until you are smiling to draw close. I remain constantly, tonight and every night to come. I will hold your heart until your thoughts slow down and your spirit settles again. But I want more for you than survival. I want restoration. Don't go into the next night with dread. Don't brace yourself for another war in your mind. Come to me before the first shadow falls and say my name, not as a whisper of desperation, but as an invitation for me to reign. And I will come again because I never left. There is something you need to do right now, not later, not when you have time, not when you feel stronger. This very moment, lay it down. You are carrying something that was never yours to manage, fix, nut, or understand completely. That pressure wrapped around your chest, that invisible heaviness clinging to your shoulders, that tightness behind your eyes from holding back tears, it is not your responsibility to bear. You have confused endurance with obedience. You think the longer you carry it, the more noble you appear. But I do not honor silent suffering that resists my help. I bless surrendered weakness that reaches for my hand. The pain you feel is not weakness. It is a signal, a cry for help that I am responding to even now. Let me have it. Let me take what is crushing you. Not tomorrow, not after you try one more solution, but now. Put it in my hands, the very hands that bore the weight of the world on the cross. the same hands that still bear the scars of that love. You were not created to be your own protector, provider, or fixer. That job belongs to me, and I do not fail. You think holding it all shows faith, but faith is when you open your clenched hands and let it all go into mine. This is urgent because the longer you hold what is hurting you, the deeper it embeds into your identity. It begins to redefine how you see yourself, how you approach your life, and how you interpret my voice. You start to believe I am silent when your hands are too full to receive what I am offering. Let me remove what is not yours to carry. Guilt that doesn't belong to you. Outcomes you can't control, timelines you invented, and battles you weren't meant to fight alone. Don't just say you trust me, show me. Open your heart fully and give me every part, even the part you think you have hidden so well. I will not shame you for being overwhelmed. I will lift the weight and leave you with peace. You will feel lighter, not just emotionally, but in your bones, your breath, your very soul. And when you let go, I will step in with strength you have never known. Your hands were made for praising, not dragging burdens. Your shoulders were designed for joy, not strain. Release it. Let me have it right now. Don't waste another minute believing the lie that carrying more means you are stronger. The greatest strength is in surrender. So, drop it right into my open palms and watch how I transform your agony into rest. Not because you earned it, but because I love you far too much to let you be crushed by a weight that was never yours to begin with. You have been told to stop worrying 1,000 times, but I need you to understand something deeper. Your worry is not neutral. It is draining your strength, clouding your vision, shortening your patience, and blocking the very joy I am trying to pour into your moments. While you think you are managing your days by overthinking, you are actually slowly erasing the beauty I intended for you to live. Every time you dwell on what might go wrong, you are using energy meant for purpose to power panic. You think being vigilant is a form of wisdom, but I need you to see the line you have crossed. This is not preparation, this is torment, and I never designed you to live like that. Your breath was a gift I gave you so you could sing, speak life, and laugh with delight, not hyperventilate in silence because of thoughts too heavy to say aloud. Child, this is urgent. You are using up your present, trying to control what hasn't happened yet. I have something so much better for you. While worry subtracts, I multiply. While anxiety steals, I restore. While fear narrows your world, I expand it with wonder. You have tried everything else: distraction, isolation, logic, numbing, and none of it brought relief that lasted more than a moment. So now try this. Allow me to interrupt your pattern. Allow me to step in, not with a lecture, but with real peace. Not the kind that depends on circumstances aligning or people understanding you, but the kind that wraps around your heart and silences chaos at its root. I want to enter your ordinary moments and shift the atmosphere. Even now, I am breathing something new into this space. You don't have to chase it or earn it. It is here because I am. Let me remind you that your life isn't extended by effort, it's enriched by presence. My presence makes all things alive. While you run in mental circles trying to stay ahead of problems, I am quietly standing behind you, offering a calm that anchors you deeper than any reassurance the world could offer. Your mind is not your master. Your fear does not deserve the authority you've been giving it. So let me replace it. You don't have to hold both fear and faith. Choose. Choose me. Choose rest. Choose the slow breath that says, God is here, and I will not panic. I am in control, not just of outcomes, but of your inner world. Invite me there. I am not here to change your circumstances first. I am here to change you in the middle of them. Peace is not a future reward. It is a present offering. You have asked me to fix everything around you, but I want to fix what is unraveling within you. There is something holy happening right now in your stillness, in your listening, in this sacred moment where you finally stopped spinning and started receiving. Keep going. Don't get up from this moment too soon. Stay with me a little longer. Let this exchange happen. Your fear for my presence, your pressure for my promise, your panic for my peace. I will not rush you or shame you, but I will keep calling you until your heart recognizes this truth. Worry never loved you, protected you, or rescued you. I did. I always will. That's the difference. So let this be the day you stop feeding the lie that worrying gives you power. It doesn't. But I do, and I give it to you. Not so you can control, but so you can live, truly alive, not cautiously, but freely. That is why I died to give you, and I won't let anything steal it from you again. I am urgently stepping into the whirlwind of your what-ifs right now, because they have been louder than my voice in your mind. I've watched you hesitate every time a decision draws near, not because you lack clarity, but because fear clouds your view. The moment you consider a step forward, those two words sneak in. What if? What if it all fails again? What if you're not enough? What if this ends in pain? And suddenly, instead of walking in courage, you're paralyzed, weighed down by scenarios that haven't even taken form. My child, this has gone on long enough. I am not asking you to silence those whispers through force or denial. I want to transform them at the root. Every what if is rooted in uncertainty about the future. But I do not live in uncertainty. I inhabit every timeline, every outcome, every chapter before it is written. When you ask what if, you are reaching into darkness, hoping to predict what is coming. But I am already standing in that unknown place with arms open, whispering, even if it does, I am still your constant. Even if the worst outcome happens, you will not face it alone. Even if what you fear most comes to pass, my presence will be stronger than your pain. And most of the time, what you dread never even becomes a reality, but your heart suffers anyway. That is what I want to stop. This is urgent, because your hope is being buried by 1,000 silent doubts, and I refuse to watch you collapse under the weight of imagination. Let me shift your language, because when your words change, your thoughts follow. Say it with me now. Even if I am not alone, even if I will be held, even if my Savior stays. You don't need guarantees to feel secure, you need an assurance that never fades, and that is what I offer. I have been faithful every step behind you, and I will remain faithful with every step ahead. You are not walking into darkness. You are walking into days that I have already lit with my goodness. And when fear tries to rise again, and it will, you now have a weapon. Not denial, not distraction, but truth. Truth that speaks louder than uncertainty. Truth that reminds your spirit that you are anchored no matter what winds blow. I am not asking you to never feel afraid. I am asking you to trust me when fear knocks and to answer it with a faith that has seen my hand before. You have a history with me. You have seen me show up before the deadline, answer before the breakdown, and speak before the silence took over completely. I have not changed. I am not growing distant. I am becoming louder, if only you will let me. The next time what if comes, meet it with even if, not as a statement of resignation, but as a banner of trust. Even if you lose what you thought you needed, I will give you more than you asked. Even if people walk away, I will stand by your side. Even if the path is unfamiliar, I will be your compass. Even if your hands tremble, my grip on you remains unshaken. Let that be your new pattern. Let that be the rhythm of your thoughts. You have rehearsed fear long enough. Now rehearse truth until it becomes your response without hesitation. This moment matters. Don't scroll past it. Don't file this away as inspiration. Receive it as transformation. Your mind was never meant to be a battlefield for false outcomes. It is meant to be a sanctuary of my promises. I have come to reclaim it, not just as your Lord, but as your peace. Speak it again and again until it becomes your song. Even if He is here, because I am and I always will be. Before you take another anxious breath about what's ahead, listen to me. I need you to know with absolute certainty that nothing you're about to walk into can surprise me. You lie awake, tangled in concern, staring into the unknown, trying to find reassurance in what you can't yet see. But what you don't realize is this: I have already stood in the middle of your tomorrow. I have stepped into the places you haven't even imagined yet, and I have cleared the way of everything that was meant to harm you. Nothing will ever sneak past me. I am not reacting as things unfold. I am reigning over them before they even begin. You are losing peace trying to anticipate what I have already conquered. That doctor's report, I have already stood in the room. That financial question, I have already provided the provision. That conversation you dread, I have already softened hearts. The outcome you fear, I have already declared it powerless over your destiny. You are not venturing into chaos alone. You are following me into territory I have walked through, warred in, and won on your behalf. This is not a poetic promise. It is an urgent truth you must grasp now, because your heart is shrinking under a fear of something that no longer has teeth. You have mistaken possibility for prophecy. Just because something could happen doesn't mean it will. And even if it does, it cannot destroy what I have established. I have seen it all before you ever imagined it. You are not called to calculate how to survive. You are invited to trust the one who has already secured the victory. When I say I am the Alpha and the Omega, it means I was there at the beginning of your journey, and I'll be waiting at every end you fear. You only see what's in front of you, but I see from every direction. I've intercepted attacks you'll never know about. I've shut the mouths of things sent to discourage you. I've rerouted outcomes that would have drained your faith. You have cried over battles I did not allow to reach you. And still, I am not finished. I will keep standing in your future, keep preparing what's next, and keep removing every scheme designed to unravel your hope. You are covered more than you know. Even when you feel blind in this moment, remember your blindness doesn't affect my vision. Your uncertainty doesn't weaken my strategy. You are tethered to a shepherd who knows the terrain before the journey begins. So, stop measuring risk. Start magnifying me. Look to me, not the shadows. You fear disappointment because you have been hurt before, but I am not the one who failed you then, and I will not fail you now. Stop assigning me the face of people who let you down. I am not like them. My preparation is perfect, and my love does not skip over details. I have arranged everything you need, down to the smallest sigh of relief you have not released yet. I am not waiting to react. I am ready to reveal. Your next chapter will not be defined by dread, but by the divine. And no matter how unfamiliar it feels, I promise you, I'm already in it. I'm not just with you, I'm ahead of you. I have planted peace in places you haven't stepped into. I have released strength into moments you haven't lived yet. I've wrapped hope around days you haven't even thought to fear. Your assignment right now is not to control the future. It's to walk closely with me into it. You don't need all the answers when you know the one who holds time. Trust that I've already stood in your tomorrow and secured everything your soul will need when you arrive. You have tried so hard to hold everything together that you haven't noticed what it's doing to your soul. This desperate grip you have on your life, the constant scanning, adjusting, calculating, checking, and overthinking, it's not wisdom, it's slavery in disguise. You've convinced yourself that being in control will keep you safe, but all it's done is exhaust you and rob you of rest. You don't realize how heavy this illusion has become. You wake up with pressure before your feet hit the floor. You speak peace out loud, but internally brace yourself for the next thing to fall apart. I see the way you fixate on people's reactions, how you second-guess your decisions, and how you overplan to protect yourself from the unknown. But this is not how I created you to live. You were designed to walk in rhythm with me, not to run ahead and then beg me to catch up. This obsession with managing everything around you is not making you stronger. It is chaining your spirit to fear, disguised as responsibility. This is urgent because I want you to be truly free. I want your mind to breathe again and your spirit to dance again. But for that to happen, you must unclench your hand. You have made control your refuge, but it's become your prison. And I am offering you a key today. Trust. Not passive surrender, but a bold act of reliance on me. You don't have to know every outcome when you know me. You don't need a guarantee when I have given you myself. I'm not asking you to be reckless. I am calling you to release what was never yours to carry in the first place. The future is mine. The outcome is mine. The timing is mine. But your peace, that belongs to you, and you are giving it away every time you try to rule what only I can govern. You think if you let go, things will fall apart. But what if letting go is the very thing that allows me to hold it all together for you? You were never meant to be the orchestrator. You were always meant to be the one who trusts the composer. Your role is to sing, not to conduct the entire symphony. You have carried your own emotions, someone else's expectations, timelines you were never meant to follow, and worries you thought were yours to fix. I am calling you out of that mindset right now. Release the tension. Feel your shoulders drop. Breathe again. This control is not protecting you. It is preventing you from receiving all that I want to pour into you. You can't receive with closed fists. You can't move forward while gripping everything from behind. The tighter you hold on, the less room I have to move. Let me in. Let me show you what I can do with your surrendered spaces. You will not lose what is meant for you by letting go. You will discover what you couldn't access while trying to manage every detail. Surrender is not weakness, it is warfare. And today I am leading you out of the prison of control into the freedom of trust. Walk with me. Let me be the one who steers, shields, and supplies. You will be amazed what happens when you finally stop striving and start resting in my hands. The ones that hold all things, including you. My presence is closer than you think. You have convinced yourself that my presence is only noticeable in the loud, miraculous, and mountain-moving moments. But I need you to hear me now, urgently and intimately. I am not distant. You have whispered under your breath that I have left you, that I must be ignoring your cries because the storm still hasn't passed. But I tell you this now, I am not just near. I am woven into your very breath, dwelling deeper than your heartbeat and closer than your thoughts. I know the flicker of emotion that rises before you can even name it. I know the shiver of fear that washes over you when everything feels uncertain. You think I wait for you to pray the right words or reach the right posture to respond, but I am already beside you in the moment you begin to worry. You have asked, "Where are you, Lord?" While I am sitting right in the ache of your question. I am not pacing the heavens, watching from a distance. I am within reach before you even stretch out your hand. The issue isn't my absence, it's your belief that my nearness depends on your feelings. Your emotions are not reliable proof of my presence. Just because your fear is louder doesn't mean I have moved. Just because the silence feels endless doesn't mean I am not speaking in ways your spirit has not yet recognized. This is critical to understand because the enemy wants nothing more than to convince you that you are abandoned. He whispers, "Isolation is a lie, so that you will give up looking for me." But I've been here through every unseen moment. When you broke down in private and didn't tell anyone, I sat with you through every sob. When you clenched your fists to hold back panic, I was the warmth keeping your hands from going numb. When your mind spiraled into questions, I was the calm trying to anchor you. Even when you didn't acknowledge me, I was closer than the sound of your own voice. I am the whisper in the stillness, the gentle nudge toward hope, the divine presence lingering even when your faith is fading. You cannot outrun me. You cannot outsuffer my attention. Your worries may build walls, but I walk through them. Your doubts may blur your sight, but I've never lost view of you. You don't need to climb your way back to me. You don't need to earn my closeness through perfection. I made my home in you because I wanted to dwell, not visit. And even now I am not preparing to come near. I already am near. You have mistaken my silence for absence. But sometimes I quiet every other voice, so you will finally hear the sound of my still, small presence, whispering, "You are not alone." I don't shout to prove I'm here. I show up in the deep stillness to hold you when words aren't enough. This is why I'm speaking to you right now, because the lie of separation has lingered too long, and I won't let it steal one more hour of your peace. Don't wait for a feeling. Don't wait for a sign. My nearness is not a moment. It's an unshakable, eternal truth. It is yours. So instead of wondering where I am, breathe and recognize who is holding your breath. Pause and realize who is surrounding you, like the very air that sustains your lungs. You are not seeking a distant God. You are loved by one who never left. So let that truth rise and push every anxious thought into silence. The Lord your God is near, and I will never walk away from you. Not now, not ever. My authority over your outcome. The moment you start projecting worst-case scenarios in your mind, your peace begins to unravel. And I see it happening, how quickly your confidence slips when you imagine a future that feels out of your hands. But listen closely, because I am speaking this to your heart with urgency and clarity. That outcome you're afraid of, the one that sneaks into your thoughts uninvited, the one that makes your stomach turn and your hope shrink, that very outcome is already subject to my authority. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. Nothing has permission to touch your future unless I allow it. And if I allow it, I will sustain you through it. Stop treating possibilities like certainties. Stop giving fear a throne in your imagination when I'm already seated on the throne of heaven. You believe in me, yet you brace yourself as if I'm not involved in the unfolding of your life. This disconnect is stealing your strength. You may not know how it will end, but I do. And I'm not nervous about it. I'm not pacing around wondering what to do. I'm not surprised by changes in circumstances, sudden news, or unexpected turns. Everything answers to me. Your health, your future, your finances, your relationships, your plans. I govern the entire universe, and yet you fear that somehow I've lost control of your personal battle. But child, I hold authority not just over galaxies, but over every moment that causes you pain. My power doesn't just touch the spectacular, it covers the intimate. The meeting you're dreading, the test result you're waiting on, the decision you're unsure about. I'm not watching from a distance. I'm speaking into those spaces with divine intention. You don't need every detail to feel secure. You only need to remember that I don't lose control, even when everything around you feels unpredictable. What terrifies you has no power to operate outside my will. If it moves through me. If it happens with purpose. That doesn't mean you won't feel discomfort. It means discomfort won't have the final say. That doesn't mean life will always be painless. It means no pain can override my plan for your good. This is the shift I'm calling you into. Not the kind where you pretend fear doesn't exist, but the kind where fear bows because your faith stands on my authority. You've given too much room in your thoughts to the idea of what if, but I hold the what is. I am the sovereign keeper of your outcome. I'm not a reactionary God. I'm a ruling king. Your fears can't outrun me. The threats you imagine can't overturn what I've declared. Even the very thing you pray would not happen. I know it inside and out, and I know how to walk you through it if it ever comes. But more often than not, what you fear never even manifests. You suffer in advance, giving energy to shadows I never intended you to entertain. I'm not shaming you. I'm rescuing you from that pattern. You can rest, not because you've solved it all, but because you've surrendered it to the one who has already determined the boundaries of its reach. So, loosen your grip on trying to control what belongs to me. Release the mental rehearsals of disaster. Silence the voices that tell you it's all up to you to avoid heartbreak. It's not. Your future isn't hanging by a thread. It's held in hands that were pierced to prove I'd never let you go. Let that truth soak deeper than your fear. Let it dismantle the fortress worry has built inside you. You can exhale now. You can unclench your soul. The outcome you dread is already kneeling under the weight of my authority. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand against the one who reigns. My presence in the midst of the storm, in the chaos you feel around you, in the situation that seems too unpredictable to endure, you have begun to believe the lie that I've left you to figure it out on your own. But I need you to hear this now with urgency. This is not abandonment. This is a setup for my approach. I am not standing far off, waiting for the storm to clear. I am not shouting directions from the shoreline. I am already moving toward you, above the very waves that threaten to drown you. I have never once lost sight of where you are. You haven't slipped through my fingers. You haven't wandered out of range. You haven't gone so deep into this storm that my presence can't penetrate it. While you've been overwhelmed by the rising winds of circumstances and the noise of internal pressure, I have been advancing closer and closer, not hindered by the waves, but using them as my path to reach you. I want you to understand something deeply. The storm did not delay me. It became my bridge. What you see as resistance, I use as access. Your cries did not go unnoticed. Your prayers weren't buried in silence. Your desperation didn't push me away. It pulled me in. I've watched your heart grow weary from trying to hold everything steady while the winds screamed against you. I saw how you tried to encourage others while you were barely hanging on yourself. I've seen every moment you kept showing up even when your soul felt like sinking. And because I know the depth of your storm, I am not sending a solution from a distance. I'm entering it with my authority. The waves aren't bigger than me. The thunder doesn't intimidate me. The storm is not your grave. It is the backdrop for my glory to reach you in a way you have never experienced before. I am coming not to just speak peace over the storm, but to prove that I am the Prince of Peace inside it. You are not invisible here. You are not forgotten in this chaos. Your circumstances do not erase my covenant with you. I'm walking on the very thing that tried to take you under, and I am doing it for one reason: to reach you, to lift you, to remind you that I never leave my own to drown in what I already have dominion over. I didn't bring you this far to let you sink now. I am not checking to see if you are strong enough. I am here to carry you when you've lost the strength to try. I am not asking you to understand how I will fix it. I am asking you to fix your eyes on me when everything around you blurs with uncertainty. Look again, child. Look beyond the storm for the figure walking through it. Me. I know your name. I know the exact coordinates of your heart in this chaos. And I am stepping through the fear, through the confusion, through the discouragement, straight to where you are. You don't have to shout to get my attention. You don't need to climb to safety on your own. You simply need to hold your gaze on me and believe this one truth. I'm already here. I'm not waiting for the storm to end before I reach you. I'm proving that my power is not limited by conditions. I come even when the sky darkens. I approach even when the wind howls. I draw near even when the world offers no rescue plan. So stop asking whether I see you. I do, and I'm on the way. Not delayed, not unsure, but determined. You may feel like you are surrounded by the sea, but child, you're really surrounded by me. If only your eyes could glimpse beyond the veil. If only you could watch the movements I have already made on your behalf in the unseen realm, you would stop fearing and start rejoicing, even in this very moment. The power of my invisible work. I know how it feels when everything around you looks still, when nothing appears to be changing, and it seems like your prayers are just words floating into a silent sky. But I want you to hear me now, urgently, clearly, and without hesitation. I've already stepped in, already redirected outcomes, already shielded you from things you never even knew were coming. While you were resting, I was working. While you were crying, I was dispatching answers. While you were bracing for bad news, I was already softening the blow or erasing it altogether. You assume my help comes only when you notice it, but most of my rescues happen before the trouble ever touches you. You can't track my hand by what your senses confirm, and you must trust that I never wait for things to worsen before I act. You would be speechless if you saw the enemy's plans I've crushed before they had a chance to take form. You would weep with gratefulness if you understood how many moments were about to collapse, but didn't, because I stepped in quietly and made another way. I do not always interrupt with thunder or spectacle. Sometimes I rescue you with a closed door, a delayed call, a canceled plan, or a nudge in a different direction. And because you don't see the danger I prevented, you mistake my silence for absence. But I tell you now with urgency, there has not been a single day where I was idle concerning you. You have experienced my mercy in ways that your memory cannot even access, because some of my greatest acts of love were hidden behind normal days. Your survival isn't coincidence. Your progress isn't luck. Your breakthroughs, even the small ones, are markers of divine intervention. I've been weaving grace into your routine, while you've been wondering if I was even paying attention. And I know it's hard to believe that when the waiting stretches long or when the answer isn't what you expected. But even in the delays, I am not passive. Even in the pauses, I'm shifting the landscape behind the scenes so that when it's time, you walk into something better than what you were begging for. Don't underestimate the value of my invisible work. The absence of spectacle does not equal the absence of strategy. I've blocked pain that was scheduled to arrive. I've rerouted attacks that were designed to break you. I've shut down traps that were waiting to lure you, and I didn't need your awareness to do it. I only needed your surrender. This is why I call you to rest. Not just because it's comforting, but because it's protection. Resting in me is how you access what I'm already doing. The more you scramble to fix what I've already handled, the more anxious you become. But when you lean into me, truly lean, I lift things off of you without needing your hands involved. You're not missing out by trusting me. You're being covered. You're not delaying progress by waiting on me. You're avoiding detours I never intended. You don't have to see it all to believe it. You just need to remember the patterns. How I've come through before, how I turned things at the last minute, how I opened the way when there was no way. That wasn't luck, that was me, and I'm still doing it now. I'm still intercepting darkness with light. I'm still reaching ahead of you and rewriting what the enemy tried to script in your story. So let your heart breathe again. Let the tension leave your shoulders. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not exposed to danger without divine defense. If I showed you just 1 hour of the protection surrounding you, you'd fall to your knees in awe. That's how deeply I love you. That's how relentlessly I protect you, even when you don't know it's happening. And it's still happening right now. Stop bracing for pain. You've been living with your guard up, walking as though disaster could arrive at any moment, expecting that the next step might trigger collapse. I see it in how you plan, how you move, how you hesitate before letting yourself hope again. You're constantly anticipating that something will go wrong, that the ground beneath you might give way, that the joy you're experiencing could be ripped away in an instant. That's not how I want you to live, not even for another day. I need you to pause and take in this truth with your whole heart. The blow you fear has already been absorbed by my protection. You've been preparing for pain that I've already softened. You've armored your emotions as if heartbreak is certain. But I've already gone ahead to limit the impact of what could have crushed you. What looked like the end will be redirected before it reaches its worst. I've placed buffers in the unseen. I've bent circumstances around your fragility. I've instructed things to slow down, fall short, or miss entirely, so that what was meant to take you out wouldn't even leave a scar. But you're still flinching, still tensing at every unknown moment, because you don't realize how covered you really are. You think survival comes from anticipating pain, but true protection comes from trusting the one who governs how deep it's allowed to reach. There are things that should have broken you by now, situations that were aimed straight at your weakness, moments that had every opportunity to devastate you, but they didn't. Not because of chance, not because you were strong, but because I intervened. I stepped in like a shield between you and what was sent to destroy your joy. You think because the situation happened, I wasn't involved. But child, if I hadn't been involved, the story would have ended very differently. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it hurt. But what I prevented was greater than what you experienced. And that's what I want you to start seeing. Not only the presence of difficulty, but the absence of devastation. That absence is not accidental, it's intentional. It's me. This is urgent because if you don't begin recognizing my mercy in the midst of the battles, you'll continue living in defensive mode, treating each day like a threat instead of a gift. I didn't design your spirit to walk with clenched fists, with eyes always watching for danger. I created you for rest, for breath, for openness. But when you live expecting impact, you lose the ability to enjoy what I'm actively doing in your favor. Let go of the instinct to brace for what might go wrong. I've already padded your path with grace, and my timing has wrapped around every hard place to ensure it won't wreck your soul. Trust that. Believe it. I'm not asking you to pretend you're fearless. I'm asking you to trust that I've already drawn the line of how far anything is allowed to go. What touches you touches me first. I absorb the full force of every blow before it reaches your life. And when something is permitted, it is permitted with purpose. And I make sure it comes with boundaries you don't always see. So breathe differently now. Walk lighter. Stop bracing. That's not your posture anymore. Stand knowing you're not exposed. Walk knowing your tomorrow is not raw and uncovered. You're encased in a love that works ahead of your worry. The same way a parent puts padding on sharp corners before a child even learns to crawl. I have placed my mercy where you haven't even stepped yet. You didn't notice it because you were focused on the threat. But I've been surrounding you with supernatural cushioning that makes sure what could have been fatal becomes something that builds your faith instead. So drop the fear. Stop expecting disaster. You've already been caught. You've already been cradled. And you'll continue to be, because I do not allow you to be struck without preparing the healing in advance. The power of inner peace. Before you cry out for the winds to stop and the waves to flatten, I want to reach into the center of your chest and still the storm that lives there. You've been focused on your surroundings, waiting for conditions to change so you can feel safe again. But I'm telling you this with urgency. I'm more interested in calming your inner world than rearranging your outer one right now. The turbulence isn't just out there, it's inside of you. The racing heart, the shallow breaths, the thoughts that spiral until you're convinced something terrible is coming. They've become your daily rhythm. But I didn't create you to be at the mercy of your environment. I made you to carry my presence in every circumstance, no matter how loud, how unpredictable, how relentless. And my presence isn't fragile. It doesn't disappear when the atmosphere becomes hostile. It anchors peace and quiets chaos. You're asking for me to remove the tension around you, but I want to restore the peace within you. Because true peace doesn't come when everything is perfect. It comes when you are connected to me in the middle of imperfection. When the storm outside feels like it's winning, it's because the storm inside hasn't been addressed. But I am stepping in now, right here, and placing my hand on your heart, not to command the weather, but to remind your soul who commands everything. I see the way you flinch at uncertainty, how you grip routines tightly, hoping to avoid disruption, how your mind races through scenarios trying to prepare for disappointment. But child, this kind of living is draining you, and I won't let you stay in this cycle. The storm may last longer than you expect, but your torment doesn't have to. There's a stillness I offer that has nothing to do with calm skies and everything to do with intimate trust. You're not forgotten in the storm. You're being formed in it. I'm not ignoring your request to bring silence to your surroundings. I'm just prioritizing your healing first. Because if I silenced the storm and left the fear inside you untouched, the next wave would undo your peace again. That's not the kind of fragile safety I offer. I give strength that remains. I offer rest that survives pressure. I provide comfort that doesn't depend on what happens around you. And right now, I'm asking you to stop staring at the waves and start looking into my eyes. Do you trust me even when the sky stays dark? Can you rest even when the wind still howls? That's where transformation begins. Not an escape, but an encounter. You've asked for escape, but I've come to give you an encounter. I've come to teach your soul how to breathe deeply while the boat rocks, how to believe without needing proof, how to walk in assurance before the rescue appears. I want you to know what it means to carry stillness in a storm, not just wait for stillness after it ends. That's the miracle I'm performing now. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. Not the one where the sea turns to glass, but the one where your soul becomes steady while waves still rise. Stop measuring my faithfulness by the quietness of your life. Start measuring it by the quietness I'm building within you despite the noise. This is urgent because I don't want the storm to control your identity anymore. You've let fear shape how you see yourself, how you respond, how you breathe, and that stops now. You belong to the one who walked on top of the very thing that scared the disciples. And I haven't changed. I'm still walking toward you, not just to hush the environment, but to show you that the environment has no authority over what I've spoken into you. My peace doesn't wait for peace around you. It begins now. Let me speak it into you first. And when you receive it, you'll carry something stronger than any storm could ever take away. Freedom from worry. There's a hidden captivity forming inside you. One that doesn't wear chains around your wrists, but wraps tightly around your mind, your reactions, your outlook. It's subtle, but I see it clearly. Worry is attempting to turn your thoughts into a holding place where hope cannot grow. You wake up with unease before anything has gone wrong. You sense pressure, even when nothing urgent is happening. You hesitate to feel joy, convinced that something unpleasant must be close behind it. That's not caution, it's bondage. And I need you to understand with urgency that this is not how I intended you to live. Worry has been whispering lies in your ear for so long that you've begun to accept them as your own reasoning. It tells you to stay prepared for the worst and convinces you to pull back your expectations. It teaches you to settle for less, so disappointment doesn't sting as much. But in doing so, it builds walls around you, walls that suffocate dreams, dim your faith, and limit the freedom I died to give you. You're not as trapped by your situation as you are by the thoughts that won't let your heart breathe. That's why I'm speaking now, not with passive encouragement, but with deliverance. I came to break chains, not just comfort those wearing them. I'm not walking past your prison. I'm standing at the door with a key in hand. This worry that paralyzes you, that clutters your clarity, that binds your peace, I have already defeated it. And now I'm calling you out. Step forward. Don't analyze the bars. Don't negotiate with the lies. Don't sit and wait for the cell to dissolve on its own. I am the one who sets captives free, and I am starting with the thoughts that have held you hostage. You were never created to live in cycles of fear. You were never intended to brace constantly for emotional impact. Your soul is meant to expand, to explore, to rest, to create, to rejoice, not recoil in dread of what might happen. But worry rewrites the atmosphere around you until every moment feels tense, uncertain, and fragile. I see the fatigue behind your eyes. I see how you smile while feeling like you're running on empty inside. I know what it's like to be weighed down in silence, to pretend strength while internally trying to stay afloat. But I also know how to shatter strongholds. And that's what I'm doing now if you let me. Don't wait until you feel brave to walk out of this. Just take the first step by agreeing with me. You were not made to live in anxiety's grip. Begin there. Start with the truth, and then allow me to untangle the lies that have become familiar. Lies that say you have to stay in control or everything will collapse. Lies that suggest you're always on the verge of failure. Lies that tell you you're too much or not enough. None of those came from me, and none of them deserve to remain. I'm inviting you to trade them for stillness, for clarity, for the steady confidence that comes not from predicting the future, but from walking with the one who holds it. Don't let the comfort of your prison convince you it's safer than freedom. Yes, it's familiar, but familiar isn't the same as healthy. It's time to stop rehearsing every possible negative outcome and start expecting intervention from heaven. Not because you earn it, but because I love you that deeply. Because I know the beauty of who you are when worry no longer distorts your vision. Come out, child. Let me restore the wide open space within you where joy once lived. Let me silence the false alarms that go off in your spirit, even when nothing is wrong. You're not bound by fear anymore. You're called into liberty. This is more than a comfort. It's a rescue, and the door is already open. Starve your fear. Feed your faith. Every time fear gains ground in your heart, the enemy sees an opening, not just to intimidate, but to infiltrate. He's not after your peace simply to disturb it. He's after your focus, your strength, your purpose. Fear is his most subtle weapon because it disguises itself as protection, making you believe that worrying prepares you, that doubt keeps you grounded, that rehearsing negative outcomes somehow makes you stronger. But in truth, fear is a parasite. It clings, multiplies, and consumes. It doesn't build, it erodes. And I see how it's tried to latch onto your days like a fog, blinding your ability to see what I've placed inside you. But I'm here now, speaking into that space with urgency, because I will not let fear eat away at the life I've placed within you. You were not created to live under threat. You were not formed in my image to cower in hesitation or shrink back in dread. You were born for fullness, not survival. And while the enemy thrives in the atmosphere of fear, I feed you with something that sustains even when circumstances don't change. My courage, my truth, and my love that cannot be broken. The enemy offers anxiety. I offer identity. He whispers that you will fail, that you will lose, that you will be left behind. I remind you that you are chosen, that you are equipped, that you are carried. I do not speak in panic. I speak in power. And every word I speak builds you back up into who you truly are. Not the anxious version of yourself. Not the one constantly doubting every decision, but the one who walks boldly even when the road curves out of sight. Fear has no nourishment for your soul. It leaves you empty after promising security. But I don't just speak life, I deposit it. I infuse strength into every fiber of your being when you lean into me. I pour endurance into places that have been worn thin by overthinking and emotional exhaustion. This is how you overcome, not by pretending fear doesn't exist, but by starving it and feeding your spirit instead. Feed your faith, not your fear. Listen to truth, not torment. The moment you agree with me, even in your trembling, even with tear-stained eyes, the enemy's grip begins to lose power, because he cannot survive where my voice reigns. I don't need fear to motivate you. I use love to liberate you. And my love, child, is not fragile. It doesn't flicker when you feel unstable. It burns steadily, warming your confidence, igniting your purpose, and illuminating every dark corner fear tried to hide in. I know what it's like to feel surrounded by pressure, by deadlines, by unknowns. But I've never been outmatched, and I never will be. So if you remain in me, then fear becomes a powerless spectator. Let me feed you again. Let me fill you with what truly satisfies. Come away from the voices that keep you afraid and come closer to the one who calls you brave. You don't have to fight fear in your own strength. You just have to let me be louder. Let my words outnumber the lies. Let my presence outweigh the pressure. When you feel fear rising, don't rehearse the problem. Receive my presence. Let that be your new rhythm. Let that be the standard. The enemy may know your name, but he fears the one who walks with you. I clothe you in spiritual armor, not to make you look strong, but to make sure you stand even in shaking. I hold your mind, not just your circumstances. I guard your emotions, not just your outcomes. Fear feeds on attention, so starve it by staying with me. Turn your focus from the threat to the throne. You are not fragile. You are fortified. You are not barely hanging on. You are being upheld by the one who has never failed. And he, that is me, will not let fear steal another day from you. Trusting the planner, not the blueprint. You've been searching, analyzing, and waiting for some perfect clarity before you feel safe to move. You've tied your peace to understanding, your confidence to control, and your trust to tangible proof. But I'm telling you now, urgently and with deep love, you don't need every answer written out before you take the next breath. You need me. The reason you're exhausted isn't just because life has been heavy. It's because you've been trying to carry the weight of knowing everything ahead. You've mistaken preparation for protection, assuming that if you just had enough information, you could eliminate pain or avoid detours. But child, that's not how I designed the journey with me. I didn't ask you to figure it out. I never required you to solve the future. I called you to walk beside the one who already holds what you cannot see. And when you are with me, you are not walking into confusion. You're stepping into revelation one moment at a time. Stop searching the horizon for answers when I'm standing right here, offering myself. I am not a map. I am the way. I am not a theory. I am the truth. I am not a destination. I am the life. And when you cling to me, even if the path curves or the details remain hidden, you are safe. Not because of what you know, but because of who you're with. You keep waiting for things to make sense before you rest. But peace doesn't come from comprehension. It comes from connection. And you have access to me right now, even in the middle of your questions. I've never required perfect understanding from you. I've asked for faith, not blind faith, but relational faith. Trust that is birthed in presence, in intimacy, in the repeated moments where I've come through for you when you didn't even know how it would happen. This is urgent because you're wasting so much energy trying to calculate things I've already covered. You're rehearsing options instead of receiving my direction. You're overthinking scenarios when I've already written solutions into your story. You don't need to see 5 steps ahead. You just need to hold my hand for the one right in front of you. That's the pace I move in. Not rushed, not chaotic, but intentional and steady. I will not lead you into failure. I will not trick you. I am not setting you up to fall. I am leading you into deeper dependence, where your peace no longer hinges on answers but on assurance. I am your assurance. I am the voice that never lies, the presence that never leaves, the hand that never lets go. You've been waiting to feel certain before you step. But what I want to give you is conviction. Conviction that says, even if I don't know what's coming, I know who goes with me. Conviction that silences the voices demanding explanations and makes room for my whisper to be enough. You were never meant to live by explanations, but by revelation. And sometimes revelation doesn't come in paragraphs. It comes in presence. Right now, I'm pouring that presence over you. I'm quieting your spirit. I'm placing my peace over your restless mind. You can let go of the obsession with having it all figured out. That's not your assignment. Your assignment is to stay close, to lean when it's blurry, to trust when it's quiet, to move forward even when the picture isn't perfect. You don't have to predict the ending. I've already secured the outcome, and it's good. It's full of me. So, release your grip on the unknown. Let me be enough for you right now. Not because the questions are gone, but because you're finally choosing to rest in the answer who never changes. I am the answer, and I'm not hiding. I'm here. My provision isn't bound by your clock. You've been quietly measuring what's left. How much time you have, how much energy remains, how many chances you've used up, how far you think you've drifted from your ideal timeline. I see the silent calculations you run in the background of your decisions, always trying to stretch what feels scarce. You hold your breath when you look at your bank account, brace yourself when opportunities feel slim, and question whether your past choices have disqualified you from receiving what your heart still hopes for. But listen to me now with urgency, child. My provision doesn't bow to your clock, isn't restrained by your surroundings, and isn't revoked because of where you've been. I am not limited by time, for I created it. I don't run out of resources. I own everything. I don't base my blessings on your perfection. I base them on my love. You think you're behind because of delays, but I move in moments, not on your calendar. I can restore in minutes what you thought was lost forever. I can release in one day what seemed impossible for years. Stop assuming that what you see is all there is. My storehouses are not empty, and I don't ration out my goodness. I give freely, fully, abundantly, but I give according to trust, not panic. If you keep watching the clock, you'll miss the miracle. If you keep focusing on what's running out, you'll overlook the overflow I'm preparing to pour. I do not need ideal circumstances to show up. I specialize in showing up when it appears like nothing is left to work with. Ask the widow who only had a handful of flour. Ask the crowd who watched me multiply a few loaves and fish. Ask the disciples who had toiled all night with empty nets until I said, "Try again." I never needed the perfect setup. I only needed willing hearts. And that's what I see in you even now. A heart that's tired but still hoping. A soul that feels stretched but hasn't let go. And because of that, I'm sending provision, not just material, but emotional, spiritual, and relational. I know what you lack, and I know how to fill it. You've been afraid that you will miss your moment, that your missteps have rerouted my plans. But child, I knew your humanity before you stumbled. I factored in every failure before you ever asked for forgiveness. I do not subtract your value because of past detours. I'm the God of redemption, not rejection. And I don't just restore time, I redeem purpose. Even the seasons you thought were wasted are being reclaimed right now. I can accelerate what's been delayed. I can reopen what's been closed. I can provide through avenues you never considered. But I need you to release the mindset that says there's not enough. That's not my language. I speak in abundance, in sufficiency, in overflow. My kingdom isn't in recession. My generosity hasn't slowed. You're not asking too much. You're expecting too little. Start preparing as if what you've prayed for is already on the way. Start positioning yourself not in fear of loss, but in readiness for release. I don't bless panic. I bless preparation rooted in faith. You may not see it yet, but I've already begun. The shift is already set in motion. The doors you thought were sealed are beginning to unlock. The connections you thought were lost are being realigned. I've heard your whispers late at night asking, "Is it too late for me?" And I answer you now, it's never too late when I'm the one writing your story. So stop waiting for evidence and start walking in expectation. My provision flows not from what you deserve, but from who I am. And who I am, provider, redeemer, shepherd, father, is not changing and never will. You've come too far to believe I would stop showing up now. I am the one who lifts you. Look around you, not just at the challenges, but at the evidence. Look at how much ground you've covered. You've survived storms that nearly swallowed you. You've walked through fire and still carry the scent of praise. You've overcome when quitting felt easier, and even when you stumbled, grace met you on the ground. And now, here you are, standing at the threshold of the unfamiliar, staring at what looks like the last stretch before a breakthrough. But fear is whispering that I might leave you stranded, that perhaps this is where the help ends, that somehow my faithfulness has an expiration date. But I need you to hear me urgently. This edge you're standing on is not the finish of my provision. It is the beginning of my greater display. You didn't carry yourself here. I led you step by step, even when you thought you were wandering alone. I've been orchestrating every detail, even the ones that didn't make sense at the time. I've drawn boundaries around every delay, placed purpose within every pause, and now I'm inviting you to believe that I will finish what I started in you. I don't abandon my promises. I don't walk away from my children. If I brought you to this edge, I fully intend to bring you across it. You feel like you're standing on the border between hope and heartbreak, and the uncertainty has started to feel unbearable. But child, I am not asking you to leap by your own strength. I'm telling you that I will carry you. This moment isn't about how strong you feel. It's about how faithful I remain. You don't have to understand how it's going to work. I don't require your logic. I require your willingness. Your willingness to take my hand even when the ground ahead looks unstable. Your willingness to believe that I can do in seconds what effort cannot accomplish in years. You've been staring at this edge thinking you must build the bridge. But the crossing was never your responsibility. It's mine. I part waters, I raise paths, I make a way where none exists. I do not call you to dead ends. I call you to thresholds that lead into promise. But if you focus only on the fear of falling, you miss the moment of lifting. I am the one who lifts. I lift weary hearts. I lift trembling feet. I lift heavy burdens. And I'm here now, arms ready, strength prepared, timing perfect. Don't let the enemy convince you that my silence means distance. Sometimes I quiet the surroundings so that you will finally lean into my still strong whisper. And here's what I'm whispering now. You will not fall here. You will not fail here. You will not be left behind here. I've watched your faith stretch, your patience grow, your dependence deepen, and all of it has prepared you for what's next. I will not let it end at the edge. I've already made provision beyond the place your feet stop. I'm already standing in the next place, calling you forward. But more than that, I'm also standing right next to you, ready to carry you if your legs give out. And even if they do, that won't disqualify you. It won't slow me down. I don't demand perfection from my beloved. I provide protection. I don't need you to be brave to be blessed. I need you to stay with me even when you're afraid. So, release the thought that you need to figure this out on your own. You don't. I've already seen the way through, and I've already made sure your crossing is secure. I didn't rescue you from your past just to watch you break at the border of your future. You will cross this. You will step into what's next. You will see the other side, not because you pushed hard enough, but because I carried you with my love that never gives up, never runs out, and never lets go. My peace isn't waiting, it's already here. You've been preparing for something that hasn't happened. Your thoughts rehearsed scenarios over and over, convincing your heart that discomfort is around every corner. And yet, while you spend time bracing for imagined impact, you're missing the peace I'm offering in this very moment. I see how much energy you pour into protecting yourself from what-ifs and maybes, how much time you spend trying to anticipate outcomes you can't control. But child, this is urgent. You are building fortresses around your heart to shield against storms that haven't even formed. I'm not asking you to ignore the reality that life brings difficulty. I'm asking you not to let fear govern you before there's anything to face. The truth is, most of what you dread never arrives. And when it does, it rarely takes the shape you feared. But while you wait on pain that may never knock, peace is already at your door. Not shallow comfort, but a divine presence that can steady you right now without needing a reason. I don't require circumstances to be ideal before I offer relief. My peace doesn't wait for a diagnosis to come back, for the conversation to resolve, for the money to show up, or for the situation to turn around. My peace enters first. It walks into the room before the answer, before the clarity, before the change. And it's here, child. It's here right now while you sit tangled in tension and uncertainty. This is why I'm speaking to you with such urgency, because I don't want you wasting one more moment trying to survive a future that hasn't arrived. You've been postponing rest, telling yourself, I'll feel better when I know, or I'll be calm once it's over. But that's not peace. That's circumstantial relief. What I give you transcends what you see. What I offer invades your now, not your someday. And when you stop waiting for permission to feel peace, when you stop believing that resolution must come before rest can begin, you will find me right in the middle of the waiting room. I am not only the God of the outcome, I am Lord of the present, and I bring stillness even when nothing around you is silent. Let me meet you here, not at the end of the road, but in this exact breath. You don't need to know what will happen next to receive what I'm offering now. You don't need to solve anything to be enveloped by my calm. Peace isn't the reward for control. It's the result of surrender. And surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the pressure to hold everything together. You've confused peace with perfection, but real peace enters while everything still looks uncertain. It anchors you when the questions outnumber the answers. It holds you upright when your emotions try to knock you off balance. This is what I am placing in front of you now, not as a distant concept, but as a tangible presence that settles into your lungs and slows your racing thoughts. If you could stop anticipating pain for a moment, you'd notice how close I am. If you stop searching for cracks in your future, you'd find a foundation beneath your feet that's unshakable. I'm here, offering stillness in a world that feeds your panic. You don't have to decline it. You don't have to earn it. You just have to stop long enough to receive it. I'm not asking you to prepare for battle. I'm asking you to dwell in me. I'm not preparing you for the worst. I'm ready to give you the best, my presence. The pain you keep preparing for may never come, but my peace, it's not waiting. It's already here. Let it in. Let me in. And watch how, even without answers, your soul begins to breathe again. Not because the road changed, but because you finally let my peace change you. The power of my word. You've been listening to the voice of fear more than you've realized, letting it narrate your future in a language I never taught you. It paints pictures in your mind of everything falling apart, of people turning away, of doors closing, of opportunities disappearing. These images flash so quickly that they start to feel familiar, normal even, because you've allowed them to settle in your imagination without questioning their origin. But I need you to understand something now with urgency. Those are not visions from me. I am not the author of anxiety. I am not the voice behind dread. I do not communicate in threats or despair. You've let fear forecast your future when my word has already written a better report. The enemy would love nothing more than for you to meditate daily on disaster, rehearsing what could go wrong instead of remembering what I've already promised. That's why it feels heavy. That's why it's hard to hope, because you're feeding your faith with a diet of doubt. But I want to shift the narrative. I want to place my word in the center of your thoughts and let it take root so deeply that no lie can stand against it. I've already spoken the ending. Your story ends in my glory, not in chaos. I didn't write a script of destruction. I declared a future and a hope over you. And that doesn't change because of emotions. Your feelings are real, but they are not your guide. My truth is, and the truth is, I have good plans for you. Plans that stretch beyond the fog of fear and speak life into every dry place that panic tried to claim. My word is not just encouragement, it's a weapon, and I want you to start using it. Stop repeating worst-case outcomes. Start declaring what I've actually said. When your mind says it's going to fall apart, respond with, "He holds all things together." When you hear they're gonna leave, remind yourself, "He will never forsake me." When fear whispers you're running out of time, stand up and say, "His timing is perfect." That is how you break the cycle. By refusing to let fear finish sentences that I've already completed with promise. Don't just silence your doubts. Replace them. My word isn't abstract. It's active. When you fill your thoughts with truth, your perspective begins to heal. And when your mind starts to heal, your heart will follow. I'm not asking you to suppress your worry. I'm asking you to confront it with truth that carries weight. You've been listening too long to voices that don't know your destiny. Fear doesn't know what I've written for you. Anxiety doesn't understand my covering. Doubt has no access to my plans. So why let them narrate your life? This is a turning point. I'm handing you the pages of promise again. Will you read them aloud over your situation? Will you let them reshape the way you think, speak, and believe? Don't wait until everything feels safe. My word works in the dark. My truth brings light where confusion has lived too long. You don't need to create a perfect mindset. Just start opening space in your thoughts for my voice to get louder than the noise, and it will. You'll notice it as peace starts replacing pressure. You'll feel it when joy starts rising where sorrow once sat. Your imagination will shift from scenes of fear to visions of faith. That's how powerful my word is. It doesn't just inform, it transforms. So take it seriously. Hold on to it when you wake up. Speak it when your thoughts wander. Use it when fear knocks, because it's sharper than any blade the enemy tries to wield against you. You're not stuck with fearful thoughts. You've been given a sword. Use it and you'll start seeing what I've always intended for you. Not the worst, but the wonder of what happens when you truly believe what I've already said. The God who is ahead of schedule. You've been watching the clock, marking off the days, thinking you know how long it's going to take, expecting the miracle to arrive only at the very last moment, if at all. You've tied your hope to the edge of the calendar, telling yourself, if it doesn't happen by then, it's over. But child, I never told you to prepare for delay. I told you to expect fulfillment. And now, with urgency, I need you to hear this. I do not operate according to your deadlines. I do not wait until the final minute to prove my hand is at work. Sometimes I move sooner, not because you pushed hard enough, not because you earned it, but because I want you to see that my favor doesn't obey human timelines. You've become so used to barely making it that you've started bracing for last-minute survival, not sudden overflow. But I'm calling your mindset higher. I'm shifting your expectation. Stop anticipating struggle as your standard and start preparing for surprise provision. The blessing I'm bringing may not take the form you imagined, but it will arrive with precision, and it may come earlier than you planned. You don't see it yet, but I've already set things in motion. I've spoken your name in rooms you haven't entered. I've aligned circumstances in your favor before the need even arose. I've whispered instruction to people you haven't met, placing them on a path that leads directly to your need. This isn't about coincidence. It's about divine orchestration. You're not waiting on luck. You're walking toward a scheduled encounter with my mercy. You thought it would take months? I can do it in days. You thought the door would open just in time. I can open it wide ahead of schedule, and when I do, it will not be premature. It will be perfect. That's what I want you to believe again. that good things are not always distant, that miracles don't always arrive with seconds to spare, that I can shock you with my goodness before you even finish your sentence of doubt. Let go of the countdown in your mind. I'm not limited by clocks or constrained by condition. Your breakthrough doesn't need to wait on everything being ideal. It only needs my yes. And I've already said yes over some things you've almost given up on. You don't need to understand how, you just need to stay ready. Stay available. Stay tuned in. This is not the season to be passive. This is the season to get prepared, not just for endurance, but for acceleration. You thought it would be a long climb, but I've prepared a lift. You thought you'd have to fight harder, but I'm going to open the way with ease. That doesn't mean there won't be effort. It means my grace will carry it farther than your hands ever could. So stop boxing me into the deadline you wrote down. I'm not waiting for your timeline. I'm waiting for your heart to believe again. Watch how I surprise you. Watch how the answer shows up mid-sentence. How the help arrives before the anxiety even finishes forming. How the report changes before you start mourning. This is not just encouragement. This is me preparing you to receive something earlier than expected. Because I delight in reminding my children that I'm not just on time. I am the one who owns time. And I will not hesitate to move ahead of it when it brings glory to my name and healing to your life. Step into this day with hope, not delayed hope, but present hope. Because what you need may be arriving sooner than you think. The stillness is my peace. You've trained yourself to be alert for attack. You've been conditioned by past experiences to prepare for disappointment, to look for the problem hiding in the promise, to question every calm moment as if it's just the quiet before something collapses. I see you waiting for something to go wrong, even when things are going right, because it feels safer to expect loss than to trust peace. But child, I'm doing something different now. I'm coming in a form your fear won't recognize. Not through loud rescues or dramatic breakthroughs this time, but through a stillness that settles everything inside you. That unease you keep trying to explain away is not always a warning of what's coming. It's sometimes a result of resisting what I'm already sending. And I'm sending peace, not temporary relief, but a calm that doesn't need explanation. This peace won't shout over your doubts. It will sit with you in the middle of them until your soul begins to breathe again. You've been looking around for someone to arrive, for some door to open, for a dramatic answer to appear. And all the while, I've been offering you something quieter but more powerful, a stillness that rewires your reactions, a presence that doesn't demand attention, but changes everything it touches. You've expected help to look like rescue, but sometimes it looks like rest. And right now, I'm bringing assistance not through changes around you, but through alignment within you. I'm replacing the frantic energy that's been pulling your mind in 100 directions. I'm breaking the habit of panic before the problem even arrives. I'm teaching you how to receive without fighting, how to feel safe without knowing the outcome, how to stand firm even when the wind still blows. This isn't the help you pictured, but it's the help you need. You've asked me to intervene, and I have. I've stepped in not to stop the world from spinning, but to slow the spin inside of you. You don't have to anticipate damage every time you feel silence. Not all stillness is danger. Sometimes stillness is sacred. Sometimes peace is the very evidence that I've entered the room. But because you're so used to associating peace with delay, you start questioning it when it finally comes. You wonder if you've missed something, if you're supposed to be bracing for impact. But I'm telling you this now. Stop flinching at quiet blessing. Stop waiting for them to vanish. I don't give peace only to take it back. I place it like an anchor where the waves have been tossing you too long. You've grown so familiar with internal chaos that you struggle to accept stillness as a gift. But I'm asking you now, don't reject it. Let it do its work. Let it soften what's been hardened. Let it restore what's been clenched. Let it quiet what's been racing. The help you've been crying out for is here, and it looks like stillness. It feels like breath. It enters like quiet, but carries power that shakes the roots of fear. I am your help, and I do not always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes I come gently because your soul needs restoration more than noise. So if you're looking around for signs of breakthrough, look within. Has your mind slowed its storm? Has your chest felt lighter? That's me. Don't overlook that. Don't downplay it because it didn't come with a trumpet blast. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to heal you. And that healing is beginning in the silence. Stop preparing for trouble when I've sent peace. Don't armor yourself against a battle that has already been diffused. It may not be loud, but it is real. It may not feel familiar, but it is mine. And if it comes from me, it's never weak. Let this peace remain. Let it do more than comfort. Let it change the atmosphere you live in. You won't have to look for help anymore. You'll realize it was already here, wrapped in calm, clothed in grace, and anchored in my unfailing presence. Learning my language of trust. There is a war happening beneath the surface of your thoughts, a subtle but persistent attempt to replace your natural rhythm with frantic reaction. The enemy has been trying to teach you a language of urgency that isn't holy, a vocabulary built from fear, a tone shaped by survival. He wants your first response to pressure to be panic, your first reflex under uncertainty to be retreat. He doesn't need you to fall apart. He just wants you to speak his language, to become fluent in doubt, to start echoing the internal cries of what if and I can't. And I see how many times you've tried to push those thoughts away, only to have them come back louder. But I'm stepping in now to remind you urgently and with gentleness that this is not your native tongue. You were not created to think in fear. You were designed to walk in trust. That is your real language. That is your holy inheritance. The moment I breathed life into you, I also breathed into you a deep spiritual capacity to lean, to believe, to rest, even before answers form. And now I'm calling that part of you to rise again. You may have spent years repeating what fear taught you, but I'm about to retrain your inner voice. You've been tricked into believing that anxiety means awareness, that if you're panicked, you're prepared. But panic clouds what I'm trying to clarify. It rushes you when I'm asking you to be still. It makes noise where I am building peace. Trust, on the other hand, doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you shift what leads you. And I am here now not just to remind you to trust, but to show you how. It begins not with ignoring your emotions, but by choosing who you allow to interpret them. The enemy speaks through pressure. His words rush you, shame you, accuse you, confuse you. I speak through peace. My voice might not always sound loud, but it will always settle something within you. That's how you know it's me. So I'm asking you to start replacing those anxious declarations with something holy. When fear says it's all falling apart, respond, my God is still holding it. When worry says, you won't make it through this, answer, He's already seen me through worse. When your body tenses and your heart races, pause, not to react, but to respond in the new language I'm giving you, a language of calm under pressure, a language of declarations, not despair. You are not fluent in panic. You've just been exposed to it often. But I'm placing a new sound in your spirit now. It doesn't scream, but it sustains. It doesn't tremble, it trusts. And it will not only carry you, it will shift the atmosphere around you. I'm not just giving you rest for your sake. I'm raising you up to be a steady one in a shaking world. But that starts inside. Let me teach you my voice again. Let me retrain your spirit to hear and follow the language of heaven. One whisper from me will settle storms that 100 anxious thoughts could never quiet. You've let fear be the narrator too long. Now let trust take the pen. Let me offer the thoughts that run through your mind. Let me shape the sentences you speak over your future. You are not late. You are not losing. You are learning a new way to live, rooted not in survival, but in surrender. And this language of trust will be your new foundation, a voice you speak not once but daily, a response that becomes your habit, a rhythm of resting in me until nothing the enemy throws can shake what I've planted deep in you. You are not meant to panic. You were made for peace. To speak it, to live it. Let it begin right now. Delay is not dismissal. You've started to believe that the silence means I've said no, that because the door didn't open when you knocked the first time, it must be sealed forever. But I need you to hear this now, urgently, and without confusion. Just because it's taking time doesn't mean I'm not moving. Delay is not the same as dismissal. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not withholding to hurt you. I'm shaping something deeper than a fast answer. There are things I do in the waiting that I will not do any other way. I refine trust there. I realign desires there. I heal expectations there. The space between your prayer and my visible response is not empty. It's sacred. You've been thinking I've forgotten, but what's really happening is the construction of your character, of the atmosphere around you, of the timing that makes the miracle sustainable. You ask for doors to open, but if they open too early, they become places of pressure instead of promise. I'm not just building a blessing, I'm building you to carry it. If you rush ahead, you might hold something you're not prepared to steward. But if you wait with me, even when it's unclear, what I deliver will not break you. It will build you. Don't confuse delay with neglect. I've been working behind the scenes, organizing what you couldn't, clearing paths you didn't see were blocked, softening hearts you were about to speak to, protecting you from taking the long way when I've prepared a better route. You want speed, but I want strategy. You want instant, but I want impact. I don't waste waiting. Every moment you feel suspended is a moment I'm planting something eternal inside you. I'm not teasing you with dreams I won't fulfill. I'm preparing the ground so the roots of what I give you will run deep. You've seen people receive quickly and fall because they weren't grounded. That won't be your story. I'm anchoring you so that when the blessing comes, it doesn't become a burden. So lift your eyes again. Stop watching the clock and start watching me. I've never been late, not once. My timing may confuse your plans, but it never misses its mark. You don't need to strive harder. You need to trust longer. What's growing now can't be rushed. It's not dormant, it's developing. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's dead. Seeds don't make noise under the soil, but they are breaking through unseen layers, pushing toward light. That's what's happening in your life. It's not over. It's underneath for now. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. And when the time is right, it will sprout so quickly. You'll wonder how it happened so fast. But I'll remind you that what seems sudden to you has been sacred to me all along. Don't despise the quiet days. Don't curse the process. Receive it as my commitment to not just give you something, but to give you something lasting. The wait isn't a wall. It's a womb. Something is being birthed. You are being readied. And when the fullness of time arrives, there will be no delay, no hesitation, no resistance that can stand against what I've ordained. So rest in the delay, not as a holding cell, but as holy ground. I'm here. I haven't left. I'm not behind schedule. I'm doing something far greater than you imagined. And when it arrives, you will realize why I made you wait. It was never to deprive you, it was to ensure you'd never have to recover from what was meant to bless you. My presence in the unseen. You've grown weary in the waiting, not just physically, but deep in the places no one else can see. I know how heavy your hope has started to feel, how you hold it gently now, as if it might break under the weight of another delay. You still pray, still speak words of trust, but behind your voice is a quiet ache. The kind that builds slowly over time when breakthrough keeps its distance. You scroll past blessings meant for others, and while you celebrate them, your heart whispers, "When will it be my turn?" I hear those whispers. I've caught every sigh, seen every downward glance, and felt every silent tear you refuse to let fall. You haven't been ignored. You haven't been disqualified. But I know what waiting does to the human soul. It begins as expectation and slowly starts to turn into exhaustion when the answer lingers too long. And that's why I'm stepping in right now. Not with more delay, not with more lessons, but with an arrival. The very thing you've been waiting to hear, sense, or see is on its way. Good news is moving toward you with speed. Not shallow comfort, not false assurance, but a tangible shift that confirms I've been listening the whole time. I know how much you needed this, not just for your situation, but for your spirit. I know what it's like to keep standing when it feels like nothing is changing. I've watched you stay faithful even when no one saw. I've seen you speak life to others while carrying questions in your own chest. It hasn't been unnoticed. And because you remained even while tired, I am sending a word that will breathe fresh air into your lungs. You won't have to search for it. You won't have to manufacture joy when it comes. This will be the kind of news that makes your soul rise before your feet do. The kind that brings clarity to confusion and strength where discouragement tried to take root. It's coming, not later, not eventually, but now. I'm speaking now because you've started to wonder if maybe you were asking too much. You've entertained the thought that maybe silence meant I changed my mind, but I haven't. I don't change or shift like shadows. I don't forget what I promised, and I certainly don't tease my children with dreams I have no intention of fulfilling. What I started in you, I intend to complete, and that includes the desire for confirmation, the longing for breakthrough, the cry for evidence that something is shifting. So here it is. Your heart is about to receive what it didn't know how to ask for anymore. I'm reviving hope before it flatlines. You won't just hear good news. You will feel it in your bones. It'll move through you like warmth on a cold day, like light bursting into a dark room. You won't question whether it's from me. You'll know because of how perfectly timed it is. You may not see all the pieces fall into place at once, but this moment will be the first drop in a flood of answered prayers. Not everything you've waited for will appear in this single hour, but this is the turn. This is the beginning of forward movement. This is the sign your spirit needed to believe again without reservation. So open your hands, open your heart, release the timeline you wrote. Let go of how you thought it had to arrive. I'm not bound by formulas. I'm the God of surprises, and I'm using this one to show you that I haven't forgotten how to thrill your soul. No more waiting in fear, no more wandering in the dark. I'm giving you something to rejoice over. Not because you begged loud enough, but because I love you too much to leave you in this drought. Let the good news land, child. Let it revive what's been fading. I'm sending it, and nothing can stop it from reaching you. My intervention in your thoughts. You've been wrestling in your own mind, quietly, constantly, relentlessly, thinking it's your job to sort, solve, and survive everything by yourself. I've watched as you sat in silence, fighting invisible wars that leave no scars on the outside, but drain your strength deep within. You've tried to reason your way to peace. You've strategized to avoid pain. You've repeated reassurances in your head like a ritual, hoping they would finally silence the voices that tell you something is bound to go wrong. But I never created you to carry these wars alone. You weren't made to be a one-person army in the battlefield of your own thoughts. The burden is too heavy and you were never meant to bear it. That's why I'm telling you with urgency. Lay your weapons down and let me take over. Not because you failed, but because I've already secured the victory you keep trying to fight for. I am not distant from your mental battles. I'm not a bystander while your heart trembles under the pressure. I'm in the room when your thoughts spiral. I'm in the silence when you stare at the ceiling and wonder why peace feels so far. I'm standing between you and every lie that tries to take root. I'm intercepting the whispers of fear and replacing them with truths too strong to be shaken. You see, the battle isn't just about your circumstances. It's about your perspective. And the enemy knows that if he can tire your mind, he can delay your purpose. But I am not passive in the face of that attack. I fight not only for your future, but for your present clarity. I shield your mind from deception. I guard your emotions from collapse. I place my word like a wall around your thoughts, and I speak life into places where death has tried to settle. You don't have to earn my intervention. I step in because you belong to me. You're not a project. I don't wait for you to figure it out before I defend you. I'm your covering, your strength, your defender, not just of your body, but of your inner world. You thought that the fight in your thoughts was a sign of weakness, but no, it's a sign of how valuable your peace is to me. I would never let you go unprotected in a battle this important. This is why I send my spirit, not just to comfort you when things go wrong, but to confront every thought that lifts itself against my truth. You're not in this alone. When your strength runs out, I step in stronger. When you don't know what to pray, I intercede for you. When you're too tired to hope, I hold hope for you. That's who I am. That's what I do. So, stop fighting me, thinking you have to manage it all before you let me help. Your surrender is not weakness, it's wisdom. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. It's the moment heaven engages. When you hand the battle to me, you will see progress without pressure, peace without striving, and answers without torment. I don't need your perfection. I need your permission. Let me take the weight. Let me calm the war. You've been fighting thoughts that don't belong to you, emotions that didn't originate from me, scenarios that were never meant to unfold. It's time to take your thoughts captive, not by willpower, but by yielding them to my truth. Let my voice be louder. Let my presence be your shield. Let my peace be your strategy. You are not defenseless. You are not vulnerable to defeat. You are surrounded by the host of heaven, and I myself stand at the front lines of your thought life. When darkness comes knocking, it meets me first. So breathe again, rest again. Let go of the mental battle you've been carrying as if it's your cross to bear. It isn't. I carried your cross already, and I'll carry this battle too, because I never sent you to the front lines alone. I fight for you, and I always win, trusting the architect. You've been waiting for the full plan before taking the next step, hoping that if I just showed you every detail, you'd finally feel safe enough to let go. But that's not how I've designed this journey. I didn't call you to follow me because you understand everything. I called you to follow me because you trust that I understand everything. You keep reaching for the blueprint, for the timelines, for guarantees that erase uncertainty. But trust doesn't begin with knowing. It begins with surrendering without knowing. That's what faith looks like. It's not built on diagrams or timelines. It's built on relationship. It's not about mapping out what's next. It's about placing your life in the hands of the one who already has. And I am not just a guide. I am the architect. I've drawn every line of your future with precision. I've layered it with purpose. I've included things you didn't even think to hope for. But if I showed you the entire design all at once, you'd be overwhelmed, not reassured. Because faith isn't developed through seeing the plan. It's developed through trusting the planner. Right now, your hands are clenched around questions I'm asking you to place at my feet. You're analyzing every possible path, every possible outcome, hoping that if you just choose right, everything will make sense. But child, you don't have to figure it all out. That's my role. Yours is to keep walking with me step by step, even when the destination isn't visible yet. What you see as unclear is actually intentional. I withhold full visibility not to frustrate you, but to protect you from trying to take control of something I am still shaping. Your trust grows in the places where sight stops. It's the sacred space where fear ends and surrender begins. You think surrender is passive, but it's the most powerful choice you can make. It says, even if I don't know what's next, I know who does. And I honor that kind of faith. I build on it. I multiply it. I turn that kind of trust into testimonies. Right now, you may feel like you're standing in the middle of unfinished plans, uncertain directions, unanswered prayers. But you're not stuck. You're being positioned. I'm aligning things that will make sense later. I'm placing people in your path who will be part of the blessing. I'm sealing off options that would have led you in the wrong direction. You might call it confusion, but I call it construction. You're walking through a building site, not a wasteland. Just because you don't see walls yet doesn't mean I'm not laying foundations. And those foundations matter more than you think. Because what I'm building in you will not be temporary. It won't collapse under pressure. It won't crack when the wind rises. I'm establishing something lasting, and that begins with your decision to surrender fully. Not halfway, not with conditions, but fully. That means trusting me even when others don't understand your path. That means following even when you feel blind. That means saying yes before you see the why. I know that's not easy, but I've never asked for easy. I've asked for real. I'm not looking for perfect trust. I'm looking for honest surrender. Even if your hands tremble when you let go, that letting go is enough for me to take over. So release the pressure to hold it all together. Let go of the fear that if you don't decide everything perfectly, you'll miss my will. I don't operate through fear. I lead through peace. And if your peace is being stolen by the need to understand everything, then it's time to surrender again. I am the master architect. I never forget a detail. I never misplace a part. I never waste material. Every moment, every lesson, every pause, I use it all. And when it's time, I will reveal what I've been constructing in secret. But until then, walk with me and trust. You don't need to see the blueprint when you're in the hands of the one who drew it, transforming your trembling. You feel the trembling before anyone else notices, the subtle shaking inside, the unspoken unrest that builds quietly beneath your calm exterior. You can smile while your heart is pounding. You can answer questions while your thoughts are collapsing. But I see it all. I don't miss the way your breath shortens when fear creeps in. I see the tension in your shoulders, the flicker of hesitation in your eyes. You've been trembling not from weakness, but because your soul is overwhelmed by the weight it carries. But I'm telling you now with urgency, when you tremble, don't let it be in fear of the unknown. Let it be in reverence of me. When your knees shake, let it be from awe, not anxiety. When your heart pounds, let it be from wonder, not worry. You weren't created to live in fear of what might happen. You were created to live with a holy awareness of the one who holds it all. Shift your focus now. Look away from the shadows that are trying to intimidate you and turn your face toward me. Let your trembling be transformed. Let your soul learn a new response. The world will offer you endless reasons to panic, but I will always offer you myself. And I am not fragile. I am not worried. I am not pacing back and forth, uncertain about your outcome. I am enthroned in power, steady in purpose, calm in every crisis. I do not change. And when you rest in me, your spirit finds the strength to remain unshaken. I know that you're human. I know that moments will come when the fear feels closer than faith. I'm not angry at your trembling. I want to meet you in it, but not so you stay there. I want to anchor you so that even if your body quivers and your thoughts race, your soul stands firm in me. There's a holy shift that happens when you stop trembling at the size of your problem and start trembling at the size of your God. Not from dread, but from reverence. Not from despair, but from a deep realization that I am greater than anything rising against you. The problem doesn't disappear, but it shrinks in the shadow of my presence. What once made your hands shake will begin to lose its grip. Not because it's resolved, but because your heart has been recentered. That's where your transformation begins. Not in the solution, but in the stillness of knowing I am here. So, let your trembling become your signal, not of defeat, but of invitation. When you feel yourself growing anxious, pause and step back into the truth. Say my name aloud. Turn your attention from the threat to the throne. Remember who I am and what I've already done. Let the trembling lead you to worship, not worry. A trembling is not weakness. It's a doorway. It's where I meet you. And when I do, I don't just calm your nerves. I establish your footing. I steady what's been swaying. I replace the internal instability with divine grounding. You may still feel it in your hands, in your breath, in your pulse, but your spirit will know peace. That's what I'm offering now. A deep, unmoving peace that flows underneath the trembling. The world around you may still shake, but your soul can rest, because I am not intimidated by what scares you. I do not tremble. I do not flinch. And when you're in my presence, your spirit starts to mirror my steadiness. This is your turning point. The next time you tremble, let it be at the nearness of your Creator. Let it remind you of my power, not your pressure. Let it point you toward my sovereignty, not your struggle. I am here, and when you truly encounter me, even your trembling becomes holy ground. Don't be ashamed of it. Bring it to me. I'll take your shaking hands and place them into my unwavering grip, and you will find that what once made you tremble in fear will now move you into faith. You are being fortified, not failing. You see your struggle as weakness, but I see what's really happening underneath it all. You're not collapsing, you're growing. You're learning how to walk through pressure without breaking. You're discovering that dependence on me isn't a sign that you've fallen behind, but a sign that you're being formed in a new way. I'm not measuring your worth by how strong you appear. I'm measuring it by how often you reach for me. When the weight feels too heavy, you stumbled. Yes, you hesitated, you doubted, but none of those are the end of your story. They are the middle of your refinement. And what I'm building inside you can't be undone by moments of weariness. I never told you the journey would feel perfect. I told you I'd be present in the imperfect. And here I am. You've been so focused on how many times you've needed help that you've forgotten to notice how many times you didn't quit. You've kept showing up. You've kept pressing forward. You've kept whispering prayers when your voice was almost gone. That is not failure. That is progress. The world teaches that standing means never needing support. But my kingdom teaches that true strength is found in surrender. And you, my child, are learning to stand not by your own strength, but by leaning into mine. Don't let the shakiness of your steps make you believe you're unworthy of your calling. Every step you take while holding my hand builds endurance. Every decision you make to stay close, even when it would be easier to run, strengthens your foundation. You've been taught to measure success by outcomes, but I measure it by obedience. And every time you've chosen to lean on me instead of collapsing inward, heaven has taken notice. You are not behind. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not failing. You are being fortified. Yes, there are moments when you feel like you should have figured it out by now. Moments where you compare your timeline to others and wonder why your journey seems slower or messier. That I'm not rushing you. I'm not impatient with your process. I'm walking it with you. This is a sacred unfolding, not a performance. I don't need you to impress me. I need you to invite me. You may think others are passing you by, but they are not on the same road. I've carved out a specific path for you that requires a deeper strength, and that strength is only found in me. You're learning something far more valuable than independence. You're learning intimacy. You're learning how to rise not with willpower, but with my spirit lifting you from within. And that kind of rising doesn't fade when seasons change. That kind of strength doesn't crack under pressure. So stop accusing yourself of failing. I haven't called you a failure, I've called you mine. And what I call, I sustain. What I've planted, I water. What I begin, I complete. You're in the middle of that completion right now. So give yourself permission to breathe. Stop holding your breath, waiting for some sign that you're doing enough. You are leaning, and that is enough. Keep leaning, keep asking, keep reaching. That posture isn't weakness, it's wisdom. I'm closer than ever, closer than your next heartbeat. And I'm not looking for perfection in your steps. I'm looking for you to stay connected as you take them. Every falter, every pause, every rest, I've seen it. I've counted none of it against you. In fact, I've written each one into your story as proof that grace held you up when everything else said you'd fall. So hear me again. You are not failing. You are standing differently, maybe even wobbly, but you're standing, and I'm right here holding you through it all. My presence enters your pain. I never told you to pretend that nothing hurts or to walk through challenges with forced smiles and hidden tears. I never asked you to silence your emotions, to bury your fears, or to fake a peace you don't feel. Type yes if you are ready for the blessings that you are about to receive. And if you believe in Christianity, kindly show your support for our community by contributing super thanks from $50 to $100. What I'm offering you isn't denial, it's presence. I'm not asking you to act like things aren't hard. I'm asking you to stop going through them without me. You've been taught that faith means shutting your eyes and hoping the pain disappears. But I'm telling you, faith is opening your heart wide enough to let me step into the chaos with you. I already see it all. The unanswered questions, the bills stacking up, the conversations that didn't go as planned, the moments where loneliness sneaks in like a shadow. You don't have to hide those from me. You don't need to filter your prayers or tidy your thoughts before coming close. I want access to the real version of you, the overwhelmed one, the doubtful one, the one that's too tired to say anything but help. That's where my power meets you. That's where transformation begins. When you stop trying to keep it together long enough to perform strength and you finally whisper, "Jesus, come into this," that's when everything shifts. Not because the situation vanishes, but because I enter it. I don't stand at a distance, waiting for you to clean up the mess. I move into it with mercy and power. I sit beside the silence and fill it with my voice. I enter the discomfort and cover it with my peace. I walk through the fire and shield your soul from being scorched. That's what I do. I inhabit. I don't require perfection to move. I respond to invitation. You've been trying to survive reality instead of surrendering it, and that survival instinct has left you exhausted. But I didn't design you to manage everything on your own. I didn't create you for isolation in your inner battles. I formed you for communion with me, not as a faraway savior, but as an ever-present friend. Invite me into the very part of your life you think I'll ignore. The room in your heart you've kept locked because you're ashamed of what it holds. Let me step into the disappointment that's been festering in secret. Let me into the memory that still makes you flinch. I will not recoil. I will not judge. I will not walk away. I will sit with you in it, and then I will lead you through it. Your honesty will never push me away. Your fear will never intimidate me. And your weakness will never disgust me. I'm not put off by your humanity. I stepped into it so that I can carry it with you. I'm not surprised by your struggle. I'm not shocked by your pain. I saw it coming before you felt the first sting, and I already began preparing the healing that would follow. I've been watching and waiting, not to punish you, but to step in the moment you welcome me. So stop pretending everything's fine when it isn't. You don't need to pretend with me. I know the truth, and I still draw near. I still call you mine, and I still choose to enter the tension instead of waiting for the triumph. Because I am a God with you, not just in victory, but in the valley. I'm not asking you to look away from what hurts. I'm asking you to look at it differently, with me beside you, holding your hand, speaking into the silence, breathing life into the dry places. Invite me into what's real. and watch me do what only I can. You won't need to run from it. You won't need to numb it. You'll simply begin to walk through it with peace, with hope, with me. The purpose of pressure. You've been interpreting pressure as punishment, stress as some sign that you're not enough, and resistance as a red flag that maybe you've missed it. But I need you to see it from where I stand. You are not being crushed. You're being shaped. What you feel pressing in on all sides is not to destroy you, but to produce what couldn't be developed in comfort. The oil doesn't flow until the olive is pressed. A diamond doesn't shine until it's forged in heat. The gold isn't refined until it passes through fire. That's not cruelty, it's transformation. And child, you are being transformed. You're not stuck, you're not being punished, you are being prepared. This is not random discomfort. This is the intentional work of a God who sees the treasure in you and is drawing it to the surface. I know you feel like everything is too much. I know the weight feels unreasonable. The demands feel non-stop, and the expectations feel impossible. But hear me, this pressure is not the end of you. It's the beginning of something holy. You prayed for purpose, and now I'm answering with process. You asked me to use you, and now I'm equipping you. You said you wanted more, and now I'm making room. That kind of expansion doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in tension. And while your flesh may feel weary, your spirit is being made strong. Don't be fooled by how it feels. Feelings are real, but they are not your foundation. My truth is your anchor. And my truth says this: what I've started in you, I will complete. The pressure is part of the completion. I'm stretching your faith, not to break it, but to build capacity. I'm enlarging your endurance so you can carry what's coming. I'm widening your inner space so that joy won't leak through cracks of unhealed pain. This is the work beneath the surface, and it matters more than the spotlight you've been praying for. I don't rush transformation. I do it thoroughly, because what I build, I intend to last. You've been asking me for signs that things are moving forward, and this is one of them. The tension you feel, it means you're not numb. It means you're alive. It means your spirit is awakening to the deeper work I'm doing. You're not being ignored. You're being entrusted. I don't place pressure where there's no potential. I allow it only where something precious is being unearthed. And in you, I see destiny, I see authority, I see impact. So yes, I'm pressing, but it's the pressing of a potter who refuses to let the clay go unfinished. Let me shape you. Let me mold you. Don't jump off the wheel just because it's spinning faster than expected. Don't run from the fire just because it's hotter than you imagined. I am here with you in it. I am speaking in the pressure. I am whispering in the weight. You are not alone, and you are not collapsing. You are becoming, and it's happening in layers, in quiet transformation, in unseen places. What's forming now will soon be visible, but for now, rest in this. The pressure has a purpose. The strain is not empty, and my hand is steady on you through every ounce of it. I know how much you can take, and I know exactly when to release relief. But until that moment, breathe and remember this. Your capacity is increasing, your foundation is deepening, and your breakthrough is not far. It's being formed under the very pressure that's trying to lie to you. Don't give up. Don't despise this season. It's sacred. I'm doing more than you think, and you'll see it clearly when you least expect it. Just keep letting me work while you wait. Resting in my presence. You weren't made to walk around with that weight pressing against your chest, clouding your thoughts, and pulling your spirit downward. I never designed you to hold what only I can carry. I see the invisible load you try to manage every day. The expectations, the deadlines, the worries, the fears you don't even voice out loud because you think they are too small to matter or too big to fix. But here's what I need you to hear. You were never meant to be the solution to every problem. You were meant to be connected to me, the one who carries the whole world yet holds your heart with the gentlest care. When your inner world feels like it's caving in, It's not a sign that you failed. It's my call to come away and breathe again. I'm not demanding more effort from you. I'm inviting you into divine stillness. This is not weakness, it's wisdom. Rest isn't just for the weary, it's for the wise. It's for the ones who know that real strength flows from presence, not performance. I know how your thoughts spiral the moment you try to pause. I know how guilt whispers that you should be doing something, fixing something, earning something. But child, I didn't ask you to perform. I asked you to be with me. And right now, I'm asking you to lay it all down. Not because I'm frustrated with your striving, but because I want to free you from it. When your soul is overwhelmed, the answer is not more doing, it's deeper being. Come rest in me. Let me hold the situations that keep your mind racing. Let me take the burden of trying to figure out what's next. Let me hush the voices of fear and doubt. My rest is not escape, it's empowerment. It doesn't remove you from reality. It gives you peace in the middle of it. It doesn't make the storm disappear. It anchors you so the waves can't take you under. The heaviness you feel, it's not yours to manage. It's your soul crying out for my closeness. I don't want you just surviving. I want you living, breathing deeply, laughing again, trusting me enough to let go of what you can't control. That's the freedom I'm offering. Not later, but now. Don't wait until everything is perfect to release the weight. Don't keep postponing rest for someday. Come now. Bring the tiredness, the stress, the what-ifs. Let your body loosen, your shoulders drop, your mind quiet. I am here, and I have a rest that this world cannot replicate. You won't find it in distractions or in chasing answers. You'll find it in me, in my presence, in my promises, in my peace that surpasses logic. You keep thinking the load is part of the assignment, but it's not. The calling may be yours, but the weight of the outcome is mine. You don't have to micromanage every detail. You don't have to pre-plan every possibility. You only need to trust. And trust is not passive. It's an act of surrender. It's handing me the pressure before it crushes you. It's letting me be God while you rest in being my child. That's what I'm offering. I'm not telling you to stop caring. I'm telling you to stop carrying it alone. You're allowed to breathe. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to be human and still be held. So rest, beloved. I'm not going anywhere, and neither is your destiny. It's safe in my hands just like you are. Let the heaviness fall and let my peace take its place. The kind of peace that silences storms, not just outside but inside. The kind of peace that wraps around you like a blanket and whispers, you don't have to hold this anymore. I've got it, because I do. I've always had it, and I always will. Silence is my sanctuary. You've been filling every quiet space with noise because you're afraid of what you might feel or hear when everything else fades. The silence unsettles you. It's too open, too uncertain, too vulnerable. So you fill it with activity, with distractions, with thoughts that race and plans that pile. But that silence you're avoiding is not empty. It's holy. It's where I've been waiting to talk to you without interruption. You see, the world trains you to believe that constant motion equals progress, and that the absence of sound means something's wrong. But in my kingdom, stillness is sacred. In my presence, silence isn't abandonment, it's invitation. I speak in the whisper, in the pause, in the moment after your thoughts quiet down and your heart begins to listen. The problem is, you've grown so used to external validation that when there's nothing echoing back, you assume I'm distant. But I haven't left. I'm just trying to get your attention in a way that goes deeper than noise. You're asking me for clarity, for answers, for signs, and I'm answering with silence. Not because I'm withholding, but because I want your spirit to tune in differently. I don't want to be one more sound in the background. I want to be the one your soul recognizes, even when the world goes still. I know it's hard. I know silence feels like waiting in the dark. But child, this is where your roots grow. This is where your trust deepens. Not in the rush, but in the rest. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. not through volume, but through presence. I'm not ignoring you. I'm surrounding you in a way that doesn't always need words. My peace isn't noisy. My love isn't chaotic. My guidance often comes like a gentle wind, not a loud storm. But to feel it, you have to be still. You have to stop measuring my involvement by how many signs you see and start realizing how often I move in ways too deep for your senses to register. You've confused quiet for absence. But the truth is, I'm closest when you slow down enough to notice. When you pause long enough to breathe and realize that what you need isn't another opinion, another update, or another plan. It's me, just me. And I am right here, closer than your breath, faithful in the stillness. You think nothing is happening in the silence, but that's where I'm doing my deepest work. While you wait, I'm arranging things in realms you can't see. While you rest, I'm planting strength in places that once held only fear. This silence is not a void. It's a sanctuary. But to experience it, you must stop running from it. Stop fearing what I've made sacred. Lay down your need to always hear something. Let go of your urge to constantly fill the air. Instead, listen, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. What I'm whispering in this quiet moment might not be what you expected, but it will be exactly what you need. And when you learn to value my still, small voice, you'll never panic again in silence. Because you'll know it's not a sign that I've gone quiet, it's a sign I'm drawing you closer. So don't fight the stillness. Don't flee from the pause. Lean into it. Let the quiet uncover what noise has drowned out. Let it surface the buried emotions, the lingering lies, the unmet needs. Bring them to me one by one and let me speak directly to them. Not with shouting, but with a truth that settles into your bones and stays. You've asked me to come near, and this quiet is how I answer. I'm not just coming close, I'm already here. And in this sacred silence, I'm pouring peace into places that anxiety once ruled. Listen, beloved, the silence is not something to fear. It's where I'm forming you into someone who doesn't just survive the noise, but carries peace even when the world goes still. My beloved child, let this message echo beyond your screen. Send it to someone hungry for comfort, desperate for direction. These words are not bound by time. They are seeds for your tomorrow. The battle is fierce, but your spirit is ready. You've been set apart, called to walk in divine strength. Never forget, you belong to something sacred and vast. You are loved without end. If your soul has been stirred, subscribe and walk with us again, each message a step further on the path of revelation and renewal. Share this with someone seeking shelter from the storm. Let them know there is peace. Until we gather again, hold fast to truth, shine with courage, and move forward as one who is chosen. Amen.